it's honestly just been so life-changing to come into this group and...
Oh, see, this is where you can't see it, but now we're giving hugs, watching the deer. But, this is what happens. It's big things that are changing women's lives. And, I just got more goosebumps. They went right into my wallet. So that's how we get paid doing this.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Angie Scott and Barb Perry.
Welcome to another episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer. I'm Barb Carey and Angie Scott, stuck in Nashville doing all the hard work like usual. And I'm up here looking out my window, watching the deer come in to get out of the sub-zero temperatures. And I happen to be right on the travel path for some friends of mine that are going from Minnesota over to the Milwaukee to Lake Michigan to brown trout fish. And not only are they friends of mine, but they're significant women in the angling community. And I am so excited to have at my kitchen table here with me Kristen Merwin and Erin, both from Women Anglers in Minnesota, both key people in that organization, probably one of the largest women's fishing groups in the country. I know for sure it's the longest standing women's fishing club, over 40 years now. Kristen, thank you so much for coming here with me today.
Thanks, Barb. You distracted me from the 15 deer in your yard right now. That is awesome. I could sit here all day.
And Erin, thank you so much for stopping in on your way through.
Yes, thanks for having us. It's awesome to be here. It's beautiful up here.
Yeah, you think I'm kidding, but actually, let's take a photo right now of these deer because I'm not making that up. That is all for real. Who can take a photo of those right there? I don't think I can quite reach, but yeah, we just had that whole polar vortex stuff and a little worried about the deer, so they're coming in eating the bird feed under the bird feeders. But anyway, we were just sitting here. They got here, like you get company in your house and you sit here and you're talking to your company and then you start talking about fishing and about these clubs that we're involved in. And next thing you know, it's an hour later and we're yakking. And we just had all this very intense conversation. I thought, why aren't we recording this? This is the good stuff we should be recording. So we had to stop talking so we could turn on the recorder. And Kristen, you're the president of WAM, and we just were talking about some of the benefits that people are getting out of these women's fishing clubs. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you see over in Minnesota?
Yeah, Barb. So I think one of the things that, I've really noticed, especially in the last 2 years, is understanding that the women we are different. We are, people who have huge responsibility in our families. We're typically the leader of our families as it relates to taking care of kids and taking care of a household. Plus, we have jobs, we have other passions such as fishing. And I think what is really important as we, look at women anglers and other women's fishing groups is that we recognize that the schedules and the demands on women today are significant, and making sure that we provide things that, give women the opportunity to participate on their time schedule and to their ability. That was one of the reasons why we did Ice Queen the way we did it. They have to go to kids' games. They have to work on certain weekends and they're not able to participate on one specific weekend. And the Ice Queen really allowed them to participate when they could, and I think that is something that we're really going to focus on going forward.
So, Erin, why don't you explain to us a little bit what this Ice Queen is?
Okay, so the Ice Queen, it's a virtual tournament, which means you can do it, all the calculation and submitting the pictures and the measurements. It's all uploaded via a free app on your phone called Fish Donkey. So basically, when you catch a fish, it's all in real time. You take the picture of yourself with the fish, you take a picture of the measurement, and you take a picture of the release. We're really big on catch and release with women anglers, so we are always promoting that. And then the premise of the tournament is a crappie tournament, and you can go on any body of water in the United States as long as your fish is caught through the ice and it's a black or a white crappie. And it's your longest stringer of 15 fish. So once you have your first 15 fish submitted, if you catch a bigger one, it automatically bumps your smallest one down and submits the bigger one for you. So super easy to do. Like Kristen was saying, it's very convenient for a lot of our members. They can do it on their own time on the ice with their friends or their family. And I think we've gotten a pretty good turnout. 300. 500. Oh, wow. We're up to 500. Wow. 500 women signed up for this. So they're getting out there and they're catching fish. And our sponsors have donated a ton of great prizes to the first 25 people that place. So we're anxious to see who comes out on top. It goes until the end of February. So keep fishing, girls. It's not too late to sign up if you haven't already.
That's awesome. We were talking too a little bit earlier about some of the emotional rewards that women get out of fishing, and I've said this for a long time. When I first started, I used to say it's all about the fishing because some of the people that I was having at my events in the very, very early days were my friends, and it was about a party. And I wanted really it to be more about the fishing. So I started with this mantra, it's all about the fishing. And now, 15 years later, when I look back and I see the impact that these fishing events have had, I realize it's not all about the fishing. It's all about the experience and the adventure and the growth that these women are having. And when we sit here and talk to each other about, my group, Wisconsin Women Fish, and you guys' group that you're running, the Women Anglers of Minnesota, it's almost like the stories are the same. The people are just different. Don't you feel that way, Kristen?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the biggest part of this, I think, is fishing is like the one time during the day, when I can get out there and I'm not thinking about anything else except getting that line on my Vexilar to come up to my green line. Like, that's all that I'm focused on. And I think that there is a successful, feeling that comes with that, and the emotions of I did it, and I think that that's probably has to be one of the most rewarding parts about it. And then to see your skills grow, that each time you get out there and you get a little bit better and you break down the lake a little bit faster and you find more success. I think all of that kind of culminates into a really amazing, empowering experience for women.
Yeah, I see that across the board. And across, it's like age too. It doesn't matter if they're in their 20s or in their 70s. I think there's aha moments that come with a membership. You can almost guarantee an aha moment that happens to you. And whether it's helping somebody else or just getting your skills up to the next level or becoming independent or having experiences that you wouldn't have had without the organization, I think that's really, it creates something that changes people. And I see it all the time. And, whenever I talk about it, I still get goosebumps. I mean, that's why we do this. I said, I get paid in goosebumps, and I really mean it. I mean that. So Erin, now there's some fun stuff coming up. Now, what is your position with the Women Anglers of Minnesota?
So I am the vice president of the Women Anglers of Minnesota. My main duty as the VP is the tournament director for the open water tournament. That's our biggest event of the year. We have about 150 women that come out. We nearly sell out every year. This year, just because of our membership growth, we are anticipating a sold out tournament situation. So a lot of people come together. A lot of them bring their spouses, their families, friends. We rotate lakes every couple years. This year we'll be back at Woman Lake, but that's really our big annual. It's kind of like the Wham family reunion, if you will. Just our biggest event of the year, multi-species tournament. So a lot of logistics go into that. I have a big committee that always helps me and supports me each year, but I'm pretty much up there the whole week running the tournament, and then I usually start planning it in February, and the tournament's in June. So that kind of gives you an idea of how big that responsibility is. So that's kind of my primary duty. I also do a lot of marketing for the club. I have a marketing and sales background, so a lot of those skills have kind of transitioned into my role with WHAM, a lot of my interests as well. So I help out with a lot of that stuff. Some of our booth materials, we just got a new logo design. I was in charge of that project as well. And then I also run our Master Angler program, which is a reward program that encourages our women to go out fishing, look for those trophy catches, and it's a platform that invites them to celebrate that. So those are my main duties, but I help Kristen too with whatever she needs. She has a pretty big role, so I try to just lend a hand wherever I'm needed.
You guys do a great job. I've participated in that tournament before, and it is so fun. I mean, what a great job everybody does. I don't believe how you get all that together. I mean, there's a lot going on that weekend. I tell you, between the banquets and this and that, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I know from experience that's a lot to manage. And, it's a kind of a big year for you guys. This is I heard something about you guys being inducted into the Minnesota Fishing Hall of Fame. I mean, what an honor, well deserved. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that, Kristen?
Well, jokingly, at the Hall of Fame, we're calling it the Year of the Woman. Because what's really exciting, too, is we have the first inductee of the Minnesota Fishing Hall of Fame individual, which is Barbara Ann. I don't know if you're familiar with Barbara Ann, but Ann Orth, she is being inducted. So she's the first female, and we are certainly the first female-only organization entering the Hall of Fame. So we are really excited and just frankly really proud of our history. Just thinking back to, Sybil Smith and the group that came together to form WHAM back in 1977. I mean, they met on a muskie tournament. And to think about a muskie tournament and women fishing a muskie tournament in 1977, women were in a very different place in society. And in fact, it was the late 90s that women stopped wearing, could wear pants to work. I mean, we need to be realistic about that. And so to think in 1977 that these women were out there forging a women's fishing organization is just incredible to me. So we're really proud of that history, and we're really proud to celebrate that. At the Northwest Sports Show, we'll be inducted as the first women's fishing women's organization to be inducted. So
when is that, and can the public attend?
Yes, so there is a breakfast. It is during the Northwest Sports Show. I don't have the exact date, but the Northwest Sports Show runs Thursday through Sunday, and the breakfast is Friday morning, and it's held at the Minneapolis Convention Center. And there are tickets that are available to the public where you can come and mingle with all of the legends and watch the inductions of the new inductees, and that I believe is March 22nd. And tickets usually go on sale probably about a month and a half before the show opens.
That's awesome and so well deserved. I mean, you think back, I think how hard we work now getting the message out and everything. Can you imagine trying to communicate and get the message out 40 years ago? I mean, what do you take out, a classified ad or what? I mean, that must have been a nightmare trying to get the word out. So, what's funny right now is you two are here, stopped at my house in central Wisconsin because you're on your way to the Milwaukee Harbor to fish for brown trout. And our group, the Wisconsin Women Fish, is going there next weekend with the same guide service for the same event, same place, two different big groups of women. And how fun is that? One of the things that I think is so cool about these groups is that even though we're in different states and we're not the same, we work so closely together and kind of help each other become better. And, we've said that mantra before, we're better together, and we've worked together and gotten tips. And, I'm kind of proud of that fact because that doesn't really happen all the time. If you look across the board with different organizations, men or women, it doesn't matter. but it's not commonplace as we have made it. And not only is it commonplace with a lot of the women's groups we know, but it's really making us all just absolutely outstanding.
I agree, Barb. And I agree that, a lot of times, we as women, we sometimes see each other as competition. And it's already hard enough out there. So I don't think that we want to be in a position of competing against each other. And I just think about our partnership and what we've been able to bring, to each other as it relates to experiences. I know my members have joined your organization because, they can experience totally different experiences than they can experience at WHAM, and vice versa. Your women have come over to our group because we have experiences that you don't have, such as the tournament, the ice fishing tournament and things like that. So I really appreciate our partnership, and I definitely think it's made both of our groups better and stronger. There's just there is no competition there. It's simply, wanting and celebrating each other's successes. And I thank you for that, because it is hard to find. And I know we have a really good friendship.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's the thing about this podcast, the Women Angler and Adventure. I mean, having kind of a spot where women can come together, women's groups can come together and learn from each other, because, some of us have been doing this a long time, and we find through trial and error, some things work and some things don't. Everyone doesn't have to start new and reinvent the wheel. And these clubs are popping up all over the place. And one of the things I would recommend to our listeners, that if you want to, start something in your state, or, we're listened all over the world now. I'm going to say very boldly, I don't know if it's true or not. I know we're throughout the country, but there's got to be someone somewhere else out of the country. Well, I'm sure Yvonne Brown's listening. She's in Canada, so she does a great job up there running her group. But there are leaders out there that are willing to help you. So don't think that, you have to start from scratch and how you're going to do it. I know myself, Barb Carey, through wiwomenfish.com, Kristen Merwin and Aaron are both through the Women Anglers of Minnesota, and we're going to give you their contact information. But, if you're that person that has that idea or that burning spark that's going in you, like, I wonder if I could do that and get more women together to go fishing where I live, because there's nothing like that around me now. You can do that, and we will be here for you as a resource. I mean, we've learned a lot along the way, and we know what works and what doesn't work, and we know, how to kind of develop programs that make it not feel how terrible 7th grade was. Remember, we all hated that. I mean, nobody wants to go to this catty little competitive, I'm better than you are atmosphere, and that does not occur. That is what's so cool about this stuff is, it doesn't matter if you're really good or you never fished before in your life. I mean, there's a place for everybody at the table. And that is just the thing that I really appreciate about both groups. And, you can't say enough about that.
Yeah. And, we were talking about right before we got on this podcast about, what these groups have brought to our lives. And, I can't tell you, like you said, you get paid in goosebumps, Barb. It's true. I don't make a dime off of any of this. I'm not looking to be a professional angler. That's not my path. I just want to share what we have at WHAM with other people and share the love of fishing. And to when these women come in and they tell you their stories and why they're there, some members come because they just went through a divorce or a breakup, with a significant other, and all of their equipment is gone or their fishing partner is gone. And, they're coming to this group to find that. And I think what is really cool about our organizations is they'll find that, and you will find your lifelong best friends and deepest relationships in this group. It's happened for me. I know it's happened to another, and we see it all the time, where people are planning trips and they're going off on their own with people they've met from the organization. And that's what this is about. It's about enriching your life, sharing your experiences and your knowledge, and really engaging and throwing yourself into something, and you'll get 1,000 times back what you gave to it.
Well said. Well said. I know that we talk about what happens, and I think Erin had some personal stories that she was sharing before we went live here or recording or whatever. But we were talking about how some people are dependent on other people to get out fishing, and she was sharing an experience about, she used to be that person. And I'm just going to let you tell your own story because you told that so good before we turned on the recorder about how you ended up being a boat owner and all that stuff. How did that all go down?
Well, I found WHAM about 5 years ago. Like Kristen mentioned, I had also gotten out of a relationship where I was pretty dependent on my partner to provide all the equipment and the knowledge and the spots and all that. So after we had parted ways, I had gone fishing with a couple other male friends, and for some reason, something was just still missing there for me. Yes, they were my friends and it was a safe spot, but for some reason, I felt not an equal. I felt like they knew more than me. So for me, asking questions and asking for help, I felt like I was burdening them. And just from having a strong circle of female friends my whole life, I wanted that in a fishing partnership too. So the first thing I did is I took to Google the answer to all of life's questions. And I Googled women's fishing groups in Minnesota. I thought it was for sure a long shot. I didn't even know if that existed. And Women Anglers of Minnesota came up right away. And I'll never forget that moment. I emailed Kristen. I looked at their website and I saw that they had this tournament coming up, and I emailed Kristen and I told her I was really nervous to come to the tournament, but I wanted to meet some people and I kind of just wanted to sit on the sidelines as a volunteer. I offered my hand in helping with the event. I have an event planning background, so I offered to just kind of be an extra hand. And between a week of going back and forth, somehow she wrote me into fishing and being on a pontoon of 5 other women anglers I didn't know. And she insisted that I fish. So I caved in, and it was probably the best decision that I've ever made. It's honestly just been so life-changing to come into this group. And
oh, see, this is where you can't see it, but now we're giving hugs. We're giving hugs watching the deer. But this is what happens. It's things, it's big things that are changing women's lives. And I just got more goosebumps. They went right into my wallet. So that's how we get paid doing this. But Erin,
ready to finish.
Hats off to you. Please do finish.
So fast forward 5 years later, I've totally dove headfirst into this. I think I was a regular member for about a year before I decided that I really wanted to make a change in the direction that this club was going, and I felt I had a lot to contribute. So I ran for a board position. I started in the publicity role, and Kristen and I just really hit it off with our friendships and our skill sets, just kind of playing off each other. So I ran for the vice president, and now here I am as a leader for the club. And it's just been the biggest honor of my life to be able to give back and pay it forward, and to give now these women an experience and friendship and knowledge that I was so graciously given and welcomed with open arms. Nobody ever questioned me. I made some of the best friends I've ever had. So this summer was like another big aha moment for me. I purchased my first boat, and half the reason I bought a boat, yes, I really did want that independence of being able to go fishing whenever I wanted to. But I knew that I needed to get some of our women anglers in the boat with me. And if I could just inspire 1 or 2 other people to give them the confidence and the knowledge that they felt that they needed to know that they can do this too, that's really what it's all about for me at the end of the day. So it's just been so life-changing for me. And I think a lot of other women, I think we're over 600 members now, and I'm seeing this happen on a daily basis. I'm seeing these connections being formed. I'm seeing these anglers get inspired and grow their knowledge and their confidence, and it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, we and I know I can testify firsthand how much work it is. It's not like it happens by accident. It happens with intention. And so now, let's talk about a few details now. You got the website, the Facebook page, the tournament. Why don't you give people some websites and stuff and dates that they can go to and look at these specific things that are coming up and see if maybe they want to participate?
So you can find us on the web at womenanglersmn.com. We also have a Facebook page. Just simply search on Facebook for Women Anglers of Minnesota, and you'll find our Facebook page. And we are also getting on Instagram. That's an interesting thing for an old person like me to figure out. I'm still trying to figure it out, but we're also on Instagram posting all of our great photos of, women out there fishing, and man, there's a lot of them. I never run short of content. I mean, it's really cool. So those are all places that you can check us out. All of our events, membership information, tournament information is all on the website. We also put a lot of it, on the Facebook page and Instagram as well, but probably the website is the best place to go.
Well, one other thing that I want to mention, I want to thank you guys because Women Anglers in Minnesota were a big sponsor of the Women on Ice. And, I was involved in that project. And, having your nonprofit organization that is able to donate money, and fishing rods to kids. And you guys do a lot of community outreach stuff. And I know you've supported me in the past, some of the projects I was involved in when I went over to Hungary to fish in the World Championships for Team USA and this Women on Ice mission. And so having that kind of financial, goodness to be able to share that, is just outstanding. And I just really applaud you and the organization for taking those things very seriously and really making an impact across the board for women fishing in all sorts of different venues, whether it be ice or internationally or whatever. So you guys get a big pat on the back for that. And, I also, one of the things that I think that when you're in one of these organizations, you develop these friendships. And I mean, you can't, can you have too many friends? I mean, you develop friends that you end up wanting to hang out with. And I will say that some of your old friends will feel snubbed because, and that's happened in our club now. We had one gal that her friend never saw her anymore. She's like, what, you're never around anymore. I never see you. And she goes, well, I'm on these fishing trips. And so her friend joined, and now her friend says, well, I get it. I know, I'm coming too. So, that's kind of what's happening. And, and we want kind of the Women Angler and Adventure to kind of be a hub, for that. And maybe people will be finding each other, and we'll do our small part to spread the word about these life-changing events. And we got some big things coming up down the road too, where it's all about kind of spreading the word and getting the information out there and sharing it with each other. And I really want to thank all the people that are listening to this and figuring out how to put the podcast thing in the phone. You talk about dinosaurs, the old person here. I've been running this podcast for the other day. I figured out, oh my God, it's playing in my car. I mean, it finally took me that long to figure that out. I ain't kidding, So I told Angie I was going to do a video about that, but I kind of forgot how already. I got to go back and practice again, but it's super simple. And it doesn't matter if you're young or you're old. Sharing the passion for angling and adventure crosses generational lines and race and everything. I mean, it's just kind of, I think the world would be a totally different place if kids had to learn fishing in school. It would change the world and the earth completely. So thank you for listening to the Women Angler and Adventure podcast, and we'll be back next week.